So, because I didn't have to drive back and forth from SF State today, I have a little bit of extra time. So, I'm gonna do a more elaborate kind of like walkthrough demonstration for the park program evaluation report. So, hopefully, this is helpful. I'm kind of just gonna go through the corrected description. There's nothing really different on here. I just put some of the requirements in the wrong spot. So this is the corrected version, and the corrected version is on Canvas. But I'm just gonna walk through this, show you what the end product will look like, and then I'll show you kind of how to get there. And then you can do it on your own and follow along. So let's get into it. I went over this in class today and it's on this recording, but basically all of the data that you're working with is pretty much clean. I would do a pretty thorough check just in case I missed anything, and it's also just a best practice. But the staff, the parks, and the audience and interest categories should all be pretty clean, and you'll be able to check that when you do your data analysis. Same over here, this all should be pretty clean, and if it's not, you will be able to see pretty easily. And same over here, all clean data. So you should be good to go. So we can kind of mentally check that off. You'll do a more thorough job on your own, but for the sake of this video, we'll consider that done. We are going to be using some formulas to start analyzing the data. So starting with the RP programs plan, this should be a little bit of a repeat from the Excel proficiency part 2. There's another video on that. If you want to see more in depth, that includes a lot of the data cleaning as well. But we're going to start with finding the total possible revenue for each program and the total possible revenue for the season. I'll come over to my completed sheet over here. So basically for this, you are going to be multiplying the max participants by the cost per registration and putting that in the revenue category. So that looks like this formula. I'll double click so you can see. So it's cell E2 times cell F2, enter, and that's 50 times 0, that's 0. And what I did is I just dragged that formula down all the way so it's applied to every single program. And you can check that by double clicking and making sure that the numbers are adding up correctly. I can show you really quick what that looks like from the get-go. So this is like the new data sheet. So what I'm going to do is going to push equal, and I'm going to do max participants times cost per registration, push enter. I'm going to make these into currency, and where did my formula go? Oh, it's right here. So I can just copy this, paste it all down these cells. And there we go. That should be basically the same as over here. Looks like it is. Next thing on our list is the total possible revenue for the entire season. That is just a sum formula, so you can look down here. I've got the total revenue labeled right here, and then you can see my formula here. It's the sum of all of the contents in the revenue column, or G2 through G87. I'll show you again what that looks like from the get-go. So I got all of our stuff right here. I'm going to put equals, and then I'm going to put sum. I'm going to select this whole range, the whole thing, and parentheses enter, and then I've got my total possible revenue for the season. If you want to, you can add some borders, optional. I like to do that just so I can see it a little bit better. All right, moving on. So we've got this whole part done. Next, we're going to go to the post-program information sheet. So that's the third data sheet, and we're going to be getting the average participation for the season, the average hours per program, total hours, and then the total participants. So I'll show you what that looks like in the end product. So we're going to come over to post-program information. And I've kind of labeled a little table right here. So this is the total for the number of participants and the total program hours. So that is basically the same formula we just did in a different sheet for different information. So I'll click on it, and it's just equals sum G2 through G54. So that is the sum of the number of participants. Push enter, 947. Same thing over here. For the total program hours, it's a sum formula, H2 through H54, getting the sum of all of these hours. So in total, for all of the programs in this data sheet, we saw 947 participants, and they participated for 134.5 hours. Next, we're going to get the average, so we're going to use the average formula. It's going to be the same ranges as what we just did, but we're changing from sum to average. So equals average, and the range is G2 through G54. And then for the program hours, it's an average formula, H2 through H54. Oopsie. I'll show you what that looks like over here. So we got the post-program information. Go ahead and label, zoom in a little bit. I'm going to label, whoa. I am going, geez Louise. I'm going to label, hopefully, this as total, this as average. This is going to be equals sum for this range right here. Boop, boop. My gosh. There we go. And then I'm going to do the same thing over here, so you can even just copy and paste it. And it's the same because we didn't put any limiters, so it automatically moves our range over. You can do the same thing here, average for this range here. There we go, and I'm going to bring that down to a whole number. I'm going to copy that, paste it over here. Since we didn't put limiters, it moves the range over for us. So now we have the total number of our participants, the total number of program hours, as well as the average number of participants and the average program hours. There we go. All right, is that all? Average participation, average hours, total, and total. Cool. Now we're going to move on to creating tables and charts. So I'm going to spend a little bit of time kind of showing you the end product, and then I'll give you some examples of how to get there. So starting with the RP programs plan, again, this is stuff we already did. So let's start with the number of programs per staff. So coming over to the end product, programs plan, I'm going to come over here. So I created a table here of all of the staff members, and then I added a count if formula for each of those staff members. So you can look right here. I'll zoom in a little bit. Stop being wonky, please. Zoom in. All right, that's going to have to be good enough. So I did count if, the range for the staff column right here, so the C column. And then I added my name, or the staff's name, in this case it's my name, in quotation marks with a star at the beginning and the end, because there are multiple names per cell in this category. So if I just put Michaela, it would only count the cells where my name appears by itself. Like, it wouldn't count this like Andrew, comma, Michaela. So when we put those stars in, it makes sure that we incorporate all of the data. And so what I did there is I made sure to add the limiters so my range doesn't change. And then I copied and pasted that formula all the way down. Then I came through and updated the name that's in the criteria. So I just like copied what's in this column and pasted it between the two stars. That part's a little tedious. And it's in our proficient exercise video if you want to see that more elaborately. After that, I created a chart, so I went and selected this table, the whole thing, and then I went to insert and then selected a bar chart, and this bar chart came up. So this shows all of the staff members and the number of programs that they planned on conducting or delivering. One thing we can do... Nah, that's fine. Basically, we're going to repeat that for the number of park programs per park as well. So I've got my table here of all of the park names. And then over here, I did a count if formula. And since each of the data points for the parks only ever has one park name, we can do kind of like the shortcut. So instead of having to put Regal Ranch in the quotation marks with the stars, I can just select this cell as the criteria, and every time this name of the park comes up in our range, it will count it. And again, I put those limiters in and then dragged that formula all the way down. We don't have to do anything after that. It will automatically update as you paste it down. Really, really similar situation for the interest categories. For these, since again, like staff, multiple categories show up for multiple programs, like we got kayaking, nature, we've got to put our criteria in the quotation marks with the stars to make sure that we get all of the instances that hiking shows up or nature shows up. Put those limiters in, paste it down, and then you've got the chart for everything. Not what I want to do, not what I want to do. Boop. Something weird happens, just undo it. And then the same thing again for the audience category. So for this, it's again quotation marks with the stars, because multiple categories will show up in a single program and we want to get all of them. This data should be clean, and so you don't have to worry about like weird spellings of like senior versus seniors, adult, that kind of stuff. I simplified it quite a bit. But with all of these, we're going to be creating a chart. And so that's done the same way. Select the table, insert, and select what type of chart up here in the insert ribbon. And then I'll show you what those charts look like. So this is the chart for the audience categories. Make sure that you sort your data from largest to smallest based on the number. We've got our programs per interest category. Looks like this guy right here. Don't do that. Programs per interest category. And then we got programs per park. This can also be a pie chart since it adds up to 100%, but it also could be a bar chart. That's up to you. I think in the other video doing this part, it's a pie chart. So as long as whatever you're doing adds up to 100%, a pie chart is totally fair. If it doesn't add up to 100%, a bar chart would be the correct version. Yeah. Cool. Really quickly, I'll kind of show you a shortcut for making these tables. Going with staff, so coming over to my blank from square one data sheet over here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my staff column, I'm going to copy it, I'm going to bring it over to the side, and I'm going to paste it. From here, I'm going to go up to data, text to columns, delimited, next. Most of these are separated by a comma, so I have comma selected, and you can double check in this preview to make sure that when you select comma that the information is separated. Push next, and then push finish, push yes. Next, we're going to select the second column of data. Making sure you got all of it. Boop, 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 boop. All right, I'm gonna cut that, paste it at the bottom of the first column. Do the same thing here for this third column. Cut, paste it at the bottom here. Now I'm going to select this whole column. I'm going to remove duplicates, push OK. OK, I'm going to sort it A to Z. And then we're going to make sure that our data is clean. So making sure that each of these names only shows up one time. It looks like we missed one of the Mitches without an exclamation point. So I'm just going to come over here. Select my staff column, go to home, find and select, replace Mitch with an exclamation point. That's not what I want to do. It might change the Michaela's and Michelle's. So I'm going to do it manually. Mitch. Mitch. We will find it. We didn't find it. I guess we can do a find. Find Mitch. Next. Find all. Make this bigger so we can see. Aha! It is. There's that one. Aha! It's this one. C23. So I'm just going to manually add in that exclamation point. That's done. Now let's go ahead and remove this. Shift those up. Everything else should be good. Okay, so that is our list. And then as I was saying before, we'll add in our number of programs. We'll do a count if for the staff column. Add in our criteria, and since there's multiple pieces of data per cell, we will do it as a parentheses. Add in Abby. Boop, there we go. And you'll add in your limiters. Boop. Boop. And then you can paste this down. And then just go through and update the name to match what is in the table. Do like this. Show you one more. You can always go to the other video where I'm doing this to see the full thing. I'm not going to go through all of it right now. But basically you're just going to go through and update those formulas with the correct staff name until your sheet looks like this one. So we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4 charts, and then tables, 1, 2, 3, and 4 corresponding charts. They can all be bar charts, or the Park one can be a pie chart, up to you. All right, moving on. So that was 1, programs per staff member, programs per park, programs per audience category, programs per interest category. Now we're going to move on to the RP programs feedback data sheet. And we're going to be getting lots and lots of stuff. So we're going to be finding the responses, the number of responses per staff member, the number of responses per program type, And then the number of responses per Likert section for each of the following. So it's basically just all of the data except for the qualitative data. These guys we're going to do manually. These guys we are going to do with a pivot chart pivot table. I show you how to do this part manually, or at least I start to, in the class recording. So if you would like to do it that way, you're more than welcome to. But I thought I would show you how to do the pivot chart so you have a video example of both ways. So let's start with the responses per staff member, and I'll show you what that is going to look like. So we are going to come down. Where did I put it? Responses per staff member. It's right here. So I basically do the same thing that I just did. I create a list in a table of all of the possible staff members from this data sheet, and I do a count if formula. And then whatever is in the cell that's right next to where you're putting the formula is what's going to go between the parentheses. This is what the chart and table look like. So the table got all of these staff members plus the, I do not remember who led this program, which the most people selected that. And then the number of responses per staff member. This is what the bar chart looks like. I'll show you a little bit of how to do that on here. So let's come over here. This is gonna be pretty repetitive. So I'm gonna copy the staff column, zoom in a little bit. Gonna come all the way over here. Gonna paste it down. I'm gonna come over to data, remove the duplicates. All right. I'm going to then just check that there are no duplicates. So there is one instance where two names show up, and that's the Michaela Teresa. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take Teresa, put her down there, and then delete the second Michaela. I'm also going to shorten this just for aesthetic purposes. I do not remember. And then we're going to add a title here, number responses. I'm going to copy the formatting over here, put it right there. I'm going to do my count if formula. My range is going to be this staff column. Boop, boop. My criteria is going to be the staff name in quotation marks with stars. So that'll be Alexis, star, quotation marks, parentheses, enter. If it shows up as date, just change the number format to number and then get rid of the extra decimal places. That all happens under the home ribbon in this area right here. Let's add in our limiters. Doot. Doot. Doot, doot. Awesome. And then I can paste this down, and then I'll just go through just like we did before and update the name that's in the criteria section. The only thing that I will note, this Mitch, Michelle, Michaela situation continues to be a challenge, but that's a really specific situation. I think that in the future this will all be easier because you don't have three people with the first four letters of their name identical. That'll just say when you add in Mitch's name to this formula, just get rid of the second star. Just put a first star because we know that there aren't any instances where it's Mitch, comma, somebody, and that'll make sure that we only count when Mitch is the single name and not the Michaela Michelle problem. Enter. And yeah, you'll just update the formula with each of the staff's name, and it'll end up looking like this. From there, you'll select the whole table, come over to insert, select a bar chart, and it'll be like this. responses per staff. Awesome. Next, so we did this. Now we're going to do responses per program type. So this is just going to be figuring out how many interp versus recreation programs there are. This one is pretty simple. Our table just has rec and interp. That is the program type and the number of responses. This formula is a count if, and since only rec or interp is visible, you can just select this cell as your criteria. You don't have to put in the quotation marks and the stars. So our range here is the D column, program type, just selecting all this data, and then selecting either rec or interp as the criteria. After that, select the table, come over to insert. This can be a pie chart. A pie chart would be way easier to understand anyway. I guess you also could do like 100% bar chart. That's this one. And that it would look kind of like this. Nah, actually, I take that back. I don't want you to do that. I want you to do a pie chart. Makes way more sense. So that's what this looks like. So it's the number of responses per program type, slightly more participants of interpretation programs responded to the feedback survey. Next is the responses per Likert scale, or Likert scale selection. So that is all of these questions. The like strongly agree to strongly disagree. And we are going to do some pivot charts and pivot tables for these. So if you look at the class recording from today, I'll just show you briefly. You can do this manually by going like this, copying the column. Let's bring it over here, push and paste, data, remove duplicates, okay. All right, and then doing equals count if the range for whatever question you're doing, and then selecting the criteria, enter. Again, it's a weird date situation, just update the number format, not currency, just a number, and then getting rid of the decimals. You can add in some limiters here. And then copy down the formula. This can be number responses. Copy the formatting. Boop, boop. There you go. From there, then you would repeat that for all of these questions. And what you could do is actually, no, I won't show you that. From there, you'll come over to insert. This could be a pie chart. It also could be a bar chart. Boop, boop. And it'll look like that, and I would just update the chart title to match the question. Oopsie. So this program was fun. There we go. That would be kind of like the manual way, and again, I show that in the recording from class today. Let's go back. Gonna delete this. Now I'll show you how to do it with pivot tables. So I'm gonna select the A1 cell right here. I'm gonna select all my data. I'm gonna come over to insert, select pivot table. This is just asking me if I want it in a new worksheet, and I do. Now, before I get confused, I'm gonna label this as fun because we're going to be analyzing the fun question. Was this program fun? And we're going to select that as our data. So that's going to come up as the count in our values. And then I'm just going to drag this down to rows. And we've done our table. Super, super easy. I'm just going to click anywhere in this table, go to data. I'm going to sort it Z to A. So the most is at the top, the least is at the bottom. And then I'm going to come back over to Pivot Table Analyze and go Pivot Chart. And it's going to just give me my chart. I will update the chart title. And you can do some like editing here. Like you probably don't need this legend. You can get rid of the legend. And then this is where it gets super easy. So all I'm going to do now is I'm going to copy this sheet. So right click on the sheet that we are open, go to move or copy. We're going to check make a copy, make sure you select the correct sheet, push OK. And now we have a duplicated version. So we've got fun and we've got fun 2. We're going to change the name of this to the next question that we're going to analyze. So we just did, this program was fun. The next one we're going to do is the information was delivered in a way that was relevant to me. So I'm going to go ahead and rename this to relevant. And now I'm going to update the information for the fields, for the pivot table fields. I'm going to unselect this program was fun. I'm going to select the information was delivered in a way that was relevant to me, drag it down to rows, and look at that. It's updated not only our chart, but also our table. They both get updated at the same time. So now I'm going to just come over here. I'm going to select the name of the question, update the chart title, boom. I also want to make this a little prettier, so I'm going to sort it. There we go. And then we'll do it again. So now move or copy. Gonna copy this guy. Okay, so now we have relevant 2. We're gonna come back here, check what the next question is. I learned more about the park where the program was held. Come back here. We're gonna go learned park. And we're gonna update our fields. So unselect this, select. I learned more about the park, bring it down to rows, sort our data, boom. And then we're also gonna copy the question title, put that in our chart title, boop, done. So you're gonna keep repeating that for all of these questions. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there's 8 questions where you do that. And you'll just keep repeating that process. So it'll look like this. This is for fun. This is the relevant. When I did this, I didn't update the chart title. So please make sure you update the chart titles. Get rid of the legend. Learned about the park. Next one is outdoor skills. Ecology. How likely are you would come back to the park where this was held. You would recommend this program to others. You would participate again. And that is all of them. One thing that I didn't do, but now that I'm looking, I would recommend doing. So because these 2 questions, the outdoor skills and the ecology question, are only given to either recreation or interpretation, there's a lot that take up this not applicable category. So what I might do is I might clean up the data here a little bit. Let's go program feedback. I'm going to come over to the data. So that's these 2 columns, H and I. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to find and select, go to replace, do NA with nothing. Yeah. Replace all. Okay. Close. And we're going to do that over here. Find and select, replace, NA with nothing, replace all. Okay. Close. And then let's see. Should have updated. Learned or improved. Why didn't it do it? Oh, because I'm on the wrong sheet. That's why. What did I just update? I updated this. Okay, so let's look at outdoor skills. Did that work? No, I can't remember what sheet I updated. Regardless, I guess that's optional because I can't figure out where I made that update. Ideally, we get rid of the NA category. If not, keep it in there. And then we can analyze based on the other information. That's totally fine. Okay, coming back. Oh, it's because... never mind. I'm not going to get caught up on it. You can clean up the data that way. You can keep it as NA. Either way, totally cool. Whole point is to get 8 charts. You can either do it manually like I initially showed you, or pivot table, pivot chart. I recommend the latter. It's a little bit faster. All right, so that's those questions. So we did responses per staff member, responses per program, responses for all 8 of these questions. Now we're going to go to the post-program information. So this is where it might get a little bit squirrely, so I'm going to give a little bit more direction here. All of these are skills that you've already done, formulas that you've already done, but because the way the data is collected and presented, it is, to be frank, a pain in the ass to analyze, but that's realistic. Not everybody who thinks that they know how to design surveys knows how to analyze data. And so when those surveys are designed by somebody who doesn't really know what they're doing, the data can be really annoying to analyze. And at least in my experience, that is most often the case. So let's learn how to deal with it. And then you'll be really smart and know how to analyze data and how to design surveys. So when you do it and you all are in charge, you do it correctly. So then maybe in the future we don't have to learn the annoying stuff. Okay, getting off my soapbox for now, we're going to come over to the post-program information tab. So this is where we were earlier, where we did the total and the average. We've already done a little bit. And I'm going to show you a couple of interesting charts and tables. So the first question that we're going to be addressing is the total number of hours per staff member. So how many program hours were delivered by each staff member. What's interesting about this data set is we don't just have one list of staff. We've got a staff lead and the staff support. So we need to find the number of hours for both. Like we have to do each one individually and then combined it. So I'll show you what that looks like as the end product, and then I'll show you how to do it. So here we're finding out how many total hours of program delivery each staff member did. And we need to first find the number of hours that they led, then the number of hours that they supported, and then add those together. So I did the same thing that I did earlier. I took my staff column, removed duplicates, put it in order, made sure that everything's clean. So I have this list of staff members. Next, I'm finding out the number of hours that each staff member led. So that is a sum-if formula. Really, really similar to our count-if formula, except there are 2 ranges instead of 1, because we want the range where you're getting the information about the staff member, and then the second range where we're getting the information for the numbers that will be summed. So for this, we've got sum-if. Our first range, our criteria range, is the column. Why did I do that? Is weird. Is the staff lead column, so the C column. And then our criteria is the name that's in our table. So in this case, it's Andrew. So that's just the cell where his name is. And because in the lead staff column, every name only appears one time, we don't have to do the parentheses. So that is in there. And then our second range is where we're summing the number of hours. So that's going to be this column right here, the total number of hours. Push enter. And so we can see that Andrew led 32.5 hours, Kayla 19.5, Alexis 20, etc., etc., etc. So all of these, you just copy, once you put the limiters in, you can just paste it down for all of the staff members. If they didn't lead any, it'll show up as 0. All of that. So next, we're going to find the number of hours that each staff member supported. This is basically the same thing, but because in the support staff column, more than one name can show up at once, we have to use the quotation marks for our criteria instead of just a reference cell. So that looks like this. Sum if, same range over here. So the support staff column D, then the total program hours, and our criteria is Andrew in parentheses with stars. Push enter. Make sure those limiters are in there. So $sign between the letter and number of each reference cell. And then all you have to do is update the names that are in the quotation marks, and then we will get the sum of the hours that each staff member supported. So now we've got the hours led and the hours supported, and now we just have to add them together to get the total hours. And to do that, pretty simple. We'll use a sum formula and just select the hours led cell and the hours support cell separated by a comma. And then that one you can just paste down. So you don't have to put any limiters. You'll just copy and paste it all the way down. For this, we're going to do a slightly different bar chart. And we're only going to select these first 3 columns. We'll leave the total numbers out. We'll verify our information here, but you'll see why in just a second. So this is our chart. Let me move it down so you can see it a little better. This is our chart of program hours per staff member. So you can see there's 2 colors here for each staff member. And that's because we've got the hours led in blue and the hours of support in red. And both of those added together is going to get the total number of hours. But we can kind of make some more, we just get more information when we do this chart instead of just doing a chart with the total hours. Can see, compare between staff members who's leading more, supporting more, or has a good balance, that kind of thing. And to get this chart, really, really simple, you'll just select this part of the table, so leave out the total, come over to insert, you'll come over to the bar chart, and instead of selecting this first one, you'll select the stacked column, so that'll add up to the total number of hours, but it'll differentiate between the hours led and the hours of support. All right. I keep feeling like I'm in class. I want to ask everybody if they're still with me, but I am talking to myself. I'll show you a little bit of how I constructed that table. So come over to the post program information. This is the raw version. So I can show you kind of how I got there. So I'm going to go over to lead staff. I'm going to go copy, come over here, paste it down. Then I'm going to come over to support staff, come over here, copy, paste that underneath, and I'm doing this to get my initial staff list. So it includes why. Copy, jeez Louise, and paste it down. And then from here, select this column, remove the duplicates. Okay, all right. Now I'm going to do text to columns. This is all the same. Finish. All right. And then if there's any people, Maverick, copy, paste. We'll go A to Z, remove duplicates, okay. I noticed that Maverick his name is spelled incorrectly, so I'm gonna go like this, select all, go home, find and select, replace. This is the correct spelling. This is the incorrect spelling. Find all. Maverick. We'll replace all. Okay. Close. That should be good. Come back over to data, remove duplicates. Alright, alright. So this should be our list. Let's make it A to Z. Let's go over to home. Why is Joey's name showing up a billion times? Because there is a space. Go through and remove spaces. Why is Abby's name showing up twice? I don't know. This is the annoying part. Remove duplicates. Okay, okay. A to Z. For this, we're just going to delete any duplicates. For whatever reason, it didn't do it for us. I don't think you should run into any issues by doing that. We'll find out. I didn't when I did it for the example, so we should be good. So that is our staff list. So take away the lead. This is our staff list. Next, we're going to get the hours led. So we'll go number hours led. Here we can go equals sum if our range is going to be just the lead column, boop, boop. Our criteria, so since we're just getting the lead, we can go like this. And then we're going to get our total program hours, range. All right, and that seems right because Abby didn't lead any programs. Add in our limiters. And then we can paste it down. Boop. Then double check. All right, and then from there, we'll do the hours of support. And we'll do a really similar formula. Sum if range is now going to be support staff, but because multiple names show up in this in the range, we're going to do our criteria in the quotations. So here, and then we'll go Abby, doop, doop. And then our sum formula is program hours. Sorry, our sum range is program hours. And then we have our correct formula. Okay, it says refers to empty cells. If it refers to empty cells, that's because some programs didn't have support staff. What you can do so that error message doesn't show up, let's come over to home, find and select, replace nothing with a dash, replace all. Okay, and that just adds a little dash. So then the error message doesn't come up. From there, add in your limiters. Doop, 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 doop. And then you can paste this down. Beep, beep, beep. And then update the name. So instead of Abby, it'll be Alexis. Instead of Amberlyn, or instead of Abby, it'll be Amberlyn. And Andrew. And Ricket. Elizabeth. And I feel like you guys get the vibe. You'll just keep doing this all the way down for all of the staff names. Then we're going to find the total program hours. Total hours. We're going to go equals sum, just regular sum. We'll do this and this. So then hours led plus the hours of support. And then just paste that down. From there, select the whole table except for the last column. Come to insert, bar chart. We'll do a stacked column. And then obviously the data isn't correct here, but that is how you get to the correct data. The chart looks like this guy. Nope, that's not the right one. That's participants per staff. Where'd he go? Here we go. This is what it will look like correct. Sweet, sweet, sweet. All right, so that is this first one. So the program hours per staff member using a sum if formula. We created a table and a chart. We're on a good track. Now we're going to do the number of program hours per park. So the program hours per park is going to look like this. So we've got our park names listed here, the total park hours that we got to with a sum if formula. Again, with the parks, they only show up once per cell, so we can just use the reference cell as our criteria. Make sure we put our limiters, and we can paste that down. Once we have the chart or the table, we can make our chart. It'll look something like this. So again, I just selected this whole chart, insert, and I did a bar chart. The total of hours per park, so this is how many total hours of program time was happening at each park. I have it sorted, so the park with the most hours is at the top, the parks with the least are at the bottom, etc. I'll show you quickly how I got there. Very, very similar to what we've been doing. You'll notice that this is a lot of repetition. Hopefully getting that muscle memory. So I'm going to come here, select our park category, paste it down, data, remove duplicates. Okay, now we got our list. Now we're going to go number hours. Then we're going to go equals sum if, get our criteria range, which is the parks, comma, criteria, it's whatever park name is there, and then total hours. Close parenthesis. There we go. Let's add in those limiters to both ranges, and then paste it down. And we did it. That's our table. The number of programs per park. Add borders if you want. Select that table. Insert, bar chart. There we go. We can sort it. Get the chart out of the way. Can sort it. Select the table again. Go to data, sort. We want it sorted by hours from largest to smallest. Okay. And that automatically updated our chart. Change the chart title to hours per park. And we did it. Next is the total participants. Or did we do that? I feel like we did that. Let's look. Yeah, we did. I guess that part should be in the formulas. I forgot to remove it. So ignore that. You already did it. Total participants or total participation is the 497. You don't need to do a chart for that. So ignore that. Now we're going to do the number of participants per staff member. Let's look at the complete version. So that is this table. So it's really the exact same thing that we just did for the number of hours per staff member. We're going to do a stacked column chart, but instead of hours, it's going to be participants. So first we'll get our staff list. You don't have to do the whole thing again. You can just copy your staff list from your hours table. And we're going to update basically just the ranges. So these are all the same formulas. We're just getting the information from a slightly different place. So instead of hours, we're going to be using the participants column. So here we've got sum if. The range is the staff lead column right here. Our criteria is our staff name. No need to do the quotation marks because it only appears once. Then our range is going to be the number of participants column. We'll push enter. We'll get the number of participants that each staff member led. Go ahead and put limiters in and then paste that down, and you'll get it for each staff member. Next, we're going to do the number of participants that each staff member supported. So same thing as what we did for hours. This time, since the support staff column has multiple staff in each cell, we have to do the parentheses with the stars. So it's the same ranges as the participant lead. No, it's not. It's the similar formula, but we use the quotation marks and stars instead. So sum if, we're doing the support staff column for our criteria range. Our criteria for this one is Andrew, in parentheses with stars at the beginning and the end. And then our sum range is going to be the number of participants. So we're getting the total number of participants that Andrew was a support staff for. Pushing enter. After that, put in your limiters, copy and paste it down, and then you just have to update the name of the staff member between the quotation marks to match what is in the table. From there, you'll do the same thing, sum of each of those numbers to get the total number of participants that each staff member worked with. From there, we will select the table, just the first three columns, go to insert a stacked column, and it will look like this. This is our participants per staff member chart. So again, this shows a little bit of a distinction between how many participants each staff member supported and how many each staff member led. And then it adds up to the total number that they worked with at all, regardless of if they were support or a lead. So it looks something like this. Awesome. And the way that you get there is really the same way that we got there with the number of hours. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get rid of this chart for now, since we already have an example of it. I'm going to take my staff list from here. This is a little bit of a shortcut since we already did the work. And now I'm going to do number participants led copy that formatting. Boop. Oh my god. Copy the formatting. Alright, and then I'm going to go sum if My range is going to be number of staff led. My criteria, staff name. And then my sum range is the number of participants. We did it. Add in limiters. Yay, yay, yay. Drag it down. Cool. Now we got the number of participants led. Now we'll do the same thing, but for the number of participants supported. And we're gonna go equals sum if, come over to the support column. Now our criteria is going to be the staff name, typed out with stars and quotation marks. And then our sum range. Why did that happen? Comma, the sum range is participants. What did I do? Okay, I think it should be fine. And then we put in limiters for both of the ranges. Drag that down. And then we go through and update the staff name. Again, I'm not going to go through all of this. Once I do it a few times, you can infer what needs to happen. So updating the staff names. After you do all of them, you'll go ahead and do total participants equals sum. These two. Copy that down. Why does Abby's name show up 144 times? Oh, number of participants. That's why. That still seems like a lot. What's going on here? Is that what it looks like over here? Total participants. I guess so. Okay, that seems right based on the data. Always good to check like when something doesn't quite match up with your kind of like general understanding, but it looks fine to me. So that is the staff, the participants per staff, and again I just selected the first 3 columns of the table, went insert, did a stacked column chart. And it looks like, where to go? Participants per staff. Down here, hours, participants, here we go. This is what the correct chart will look like. So 1 color for participants led, 1 color for participants supported, adding up to the total. Yay. Okay, now we're going to do participants per park. So really similar, again, to what we did earlier when we did the hours per park. This was our hours per park. we're going to do our participants per park. So we'll take our same park list. We will do our sum if formula. This time, instead of doing the hours as one of our ranges, we're doing the number of participants. So that's what this looks like. You put in your limiters, you paste it down, etc., etc. This is your lovely, lovely chart. Participants per park. So it'll look like this. I'll show you how I got there. So we'll take our park list right here. Come on over here, put it down. We're gonna go participants per park. Go equals sum if our criteria range is the parks. Our criteria is the park name, and then we are adding up the number of participants. Beep. Okay, there we go. Add in the limiters. And then drag it down. There we go. Select the whole thing. Insert, column chart. Also, let's go participants per park. And then I'm gonna go here, move this down, move it down a little more, and a little bit more. Select this. We're gonna sort it so it looks nice. Data, sort, number of participants, largest to smallest. Okay, so that sorted our table. And now our chart is nice and pretty. Again, this is what it will actually look like with all the correct data. I didn't go through and update all of the stuff in here. Oh, I guess this one's fine. Scratch what I just said. These charts are now identical. This is what it looks like in the end, though. Okay, now we're going to go programs per staff member, combining lead and support. So this is going to be a count if formula. The number of programs per staff member. Park staff. Programs total. Okay, so that's this guy. That is this table right here. So we've got our same list of staff members that we used for the last 3 things in this. And then we've got a count if formula for the number of programs that they led, the same thing for the number of programs they supported, and then a sum formula for the total programs that they did, period. So that looks like this. So we got count if, the range for lead staff, this one right here. Then we've got our criteria, which is just the staff name in the table. We're not summing anything, so you just need one range and then your criteria, and that's it. So it's just counting how many programs each staff member actually did. You put in your limiters and then paste down that formula for everybody. Then you can do the same thing for support, except the only difference is our criteria, instead of a reference in our table, is going to be the staff name in quotation marks with the stars, because as I've said, and as you know, really, multiple staff names show up in the support staff column. So we need to use a different criteria format. But from there, it looks like this. Put in the limiters, paste it down, update the name of the staff member. Then we can do the sum formula for both of those numbers. Looks like this. paste it down. So we have the sum of programs for each staff member. Then we can make our table. Where is the table for this? Programs per park, programs per staff. Is that right? Yeah. Did I show you this table already? Can't remember. If I did, maybe I meant to show you a different one. I'll do I'll double check. But this is the programs per staff. Again, it is a stacked column chart showing the number of programs that were led and the number of programs supported to add up to the total number of programs per staff member. Your final chart will look like this. Show you how I got there. Take our staff list, copy, paste it over here. Now we're going to do programs led, so let's copy this, change participants to program, gonna go equals count if the range is lead staff, the criteria is the staff name referenced in the table, enter, put in the limiters, yay, and paste it down, yay. Make sure you paste it all the way down. Cool. Now, programs that each staff member supported. Equals count if support staff as our range. You know what to do. Quotation marks. Star. Staff name, star, quotation marks, and parentheses. Yay. Add in the limiters. Paste it down. Update the staff names. So instead of Abby, it's Alexis. Instead of Abby again, it's Amber Lynn. Instead of Abby, once again, it's Andrew. Do a couple more, but I think that you all have got it down. Yay. Alright, Cricket. Instead of Abby. You'll keep doing that until you do every single staff member. From there, you will select the table. You will go to Insert. You will go to Stacked Column. It will appear. And it will look something like this, but actually correct. And the actually correct version is this. Yay. Okay, what's next? Participants per park, programs per staff member. I'm going to do programs per park. Programs per park looks like this. Park list that we've been using, and then a count if formula, this time referencing the park name, and go to insert, and then we got programs per park in order from the most parks, or the most programs, to the least programs. I'll show you how I got there. I'm gonna get rid of this chart. We don't need it anymore. We have a correct version. So let's come over here, get this list of parks, copy it, paste it. We're gonna get the number of programs. Gonna go equals count if. Get the range. That's all of the parks. Now a criteria, which is the name of the park. Add in the limiters. paste it down. Boom. Select the table. Let's sort the data. Let's insert a chart. Yeah. So this is going to be programs per park. Boom. There we go. That should look identical to this. And it does. Cool. What's next? Programs per park. Programs per audience category. And we're going to combine the primary and the secondary. Okay. Did I do this? I wonder if I did this before. Maybe we will all be doing this together. Total programs. Okay, cool. I didn't do this earlier, so we'll do it together now. Let's go primary audience. Paste it down. Let's move this chart out of the way. Go to secondary audience. Go like that. Go okay. What did I do? Secondary audience, just adding that to this. Select this whole column, data, remove duplicates. Okay, okay. Did I really not do this before? I guess not. All right. So this is our audience. What's the question? Programs per audience category. Okay. Number programs. Zoom in a little bit for you guys. Okay, equals count if range go primary criteria, not what I want to do. Criteria, yay. Add in our limiters. Paste it down. I'll do the same thing for secondary. Now we just need to update the criteria. Does that look right? Yep. Then paste it down. If you didn't see what I just did, I just copied the formula we just did for the primary audience, pasted it in the secondary audience category. It automatically moved over one column, so it went over to the secondary because we didn't put limiters on the column, just on the rows. And then from there, I just updated the criteria. So instead of it referencing the one right next to it, it goes back to the audience category. I also could have put limiters before I copied and pasted it, and it would have been fine. I guess I'll show you what that looks like. So get rid of this guy. Over here, I'm going to add limiters to both the column and the row of our reference. I don't want you to do that. I want you to do this. Adding limiters there. Why? Oh, that's why. Silly, silly. Okay, and so now I'm going to paste that down. Oh, right there. No. No, that's not what I wanted to do. I want it to just have a limiter. Does that work? No. I want the limiter there. Does that work? Yes. Okay. So again, I put a limiter before the AM, so it keeps the column the same even when I paste it over a column. And so you don't have to update the reference for the criteria. And so now I've got how many times or how many programs general public is a primary audience category, how many it is a secondary audience category. Now we're going to do number of programs total, and we're going to do sum of this guy and this guy, and then paste it down. And then from here, we'll select the whole table. We're going to sort it by the total programs, largest to smallest. Okay. Select just these first 3 columns. Insert, stacked. And now we've got our total. So programs per audience category. And we've got a distinction between if it was a primary audience or a secondary audience. Yay, yay, yay. All right, that was that whole process because I didn't do that one before. Let's make this small again. Okay, what is next? So we did programs per audience category. Now we're going to do programs per program type. I think I did not do this one before either. So let's do it together. All right, come on over here. Even more. Program type. Copy this column from our data. Zoom out a little bit so you can see where that is. Bring it over here. Now we're going to go to data, remove the duplicates. Okay, okay. Now we're going to go number of programs. We're going to go equals count if our range is program type, our criteria, interpretation. Boop. What happened? Invalid name? What does that mean? Oh, because I spelled count if wrong. I don't need extra help. Yay, okay. Add in our limiters. Paste it down. Get rid of average and total because those are not program types. Double check. Looking good. Okay. I'm gonna make all of these the same. Now I'm gonna go over here and I'm gonna sort it. Sort by the number of programs, largest, smallest. Yay, yay, yay. Insert pie chart. Yay. Make it big so you all can see. This is our pie chart. Let's change that chart title to programs. Number of programs per type. And then I would do some fun stuff like adding some data labels and probably getting rid of the legend and making the text really visible, maybe making it bigger, maybe even bigger than that. Yeah, that's that chart. Fun times we're having together. Okay, cool. So next is going to be that qualitative analysis that we did earlier. So that is the primary thing that you should reference today's class session for. Since that's kind of like a more kind of personal, I guess, it'll likely be slightly different per person. But just to show you how to get set up for that. The information is in this sheet that we've been working on. No, that's a lie. It is in the program feedback sheet. It's these last 3 questions. The best thing about this program was, the one thing I would change is, in a program Sonoma County Regional Park should do, I would take each of those and make it its own sheet. I labeled the sheet content best because we're doing a content analysis of the best parts of the program. And you'll go through like we did before, and you're going to code the responses. So we can go nature, and we'll add a 1. Getting outside and hiking. Let's go learning. And add a 1. Getting outside, nature/outside. Add a 1. Earlier we did exercise. Hiking is exercise, so add a 1 there. Leaders of a group, so let's go staff/lead/volunteer. There we go. Alexis was terrific. She's a staff member watching the moonrise. That is like nature outside. We'll do experience. Do access to something new, learning/new. I might even add, John, a volunteer. I'm going to come up here. I'm going to freeze my cells. View, freeze top row, DD, freeze first column. Why didn't that work? Freeze top row, and freeze the first column. Cool, there we go. I also want to freeze the top row. Can you not do both at the same time? That's annoying. I'm not gonna figure that out right now. I guess you could freeze the panes. Freeze panes. Whatever works for you. But you're gonna keep going through volunteer, make all your codes, and then when you're done, you're gonna do a sum formula for each of these, create a table, and then make charts for each one. So that would look like, well, it's like pretend that there is only this many comments. Show you an example of what that looks like. So pretend that I went through all of the comments, but just for sake of time, and so you don't have to listen to me for much longer, I'm going to just show you how it looks. So you're going to do that for all the comments. Don't delete the comments like I just did. This is just for learning purposes. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go equals sum, select the range, and then I'm going to add in my limiters. What you can do so you don't get that error is select your entire area, home, find and replace, place blank cells with 0. Place all. Alright, close. Now you're going to take, let's go total. I'm going to make all this bold so you can see. You're going to take your formula here and you're going to drag it across. Then what you can do to make this like a chart is you can then select all of the range where your data is. You can hide it, and then take this, copy, come over here, paste special, paste it as values. So that just took the information from your chart, made it into a table, and then from here you can go insert. You can do a bar chart, and it'll look something like this. The best thing about blah blah blah. And you'll see that 3 people said that nature and outside was the best thing. 2 people said that learning something new was the best thing, etc. You'll have a ton of different categories, and you'll have a bunch of responses, so your chart won't look like this, but it will look like this with more data. That's how you do that, and you'll do that for the 3 content analysis questions. And then you are done with the analysis. After that, you're going to go through and you're going to make your 3 new surveys. Just to quickly point out where you're going to want to make the data congruent. So especially in these interest categories and audience categories, I'm going to want to have an interest categories question and an audience categories question in both the planning and the post-program form, and I'm going to want the categories to match up. So however that makes sense to you, that is how it should be. You might also add in maybe like the cost per participant into the post-program form. However it makes sense to you, so later on when these surveys are used again, they can be comparable. If you have any questions about that, send me an email, but you can use Microsoft Forms or Qualtrics, but you're basically redesigning the surveys to make them better. But that is basically it. Quickly I'll pop through just the final version one more time so you can see it really well. We got our programs plan form. Here we got the revenue for the total possible revenue for each program, the total revenue for the season. We've got the number of staff per programs planned. We've got the number of programs planned per staff member, the number of programs planned per park, the number of programs planned per interest category, and the number of programs planned for each audience category. And we have a chart for each of those. They look like this. Next, we got the program's feedback. From here, what did we do? We made some pivot tables and pivot charts for each of the Likert response questions. So was this program fun? Was the program relevant? What you learned about the park, the outdoor skills, the ecology, would they come back? Would they recommend it? Would they participate again? Each a separate sheet with a pivot table and a pivot chart. Then we have the number of responses per staff member. That chart looks like this, that table looks like this, and then we've got the number of responses per program type. Recreation and interp, that chart looks like this. Next we have our content analysis. So that was the example that I just did. So you're going through, you're coding the responses, and then you're creating a table that you can turn into a chart based on those coded responses. Doing that for what each participant liked best, what they would change, and a program that they think that regional park should do. Then you're going to go to the post-program information form. You are going to get the total number of program hours, the total number of program participants. You're also going to get the average number of participants and the total program hours. The average program hours. From there, You're going to find out the number of hours that each staff led, supported, and the total. You're going to turn that into a stacked column chart. After that, you're going to find the number of program hours per park, and you're going to make it into a bar chart. Looks like this. Next, you're going to find the number of participants each staff member led, supported, and the total, and that's going to be another stacked column chart. Hours per staff, participants per staff, and it looks like this. Next, you're going to find the number of number of participants per park. Participants per park, that's this guy. That chart looks like this. Next, you're going to get the number of programs that each staff member led, supported, and the total. Let's find that chart. Programs per staff, it's going to be stacked with the number of programs led in blue, the number of programs supported in red. After that, you're going to get the total number of programs at each park. Number of programs at each park. Where's that chart? Oh my god, it's right here. Programs per park, it looks like this. Yay. Then you're going to get the number of programs per audience category. That looks like this. And you're going to go with the secondary and the primary, then get the total. And then you're going to get the number of programs per program type. You can do a pie chart for that. And it looks like this. I think that's everything. Let's double check. Yes, it is. Amazing. After that, you'll make your surveys. And then you'll turn it all in and it'll be awesome. Thank you guys for all the work you've been doing. Really stoked to see you after break. I hope you have a really good break. Please feel free to email me with any questions, but you all definitely got this. Try not to stress too much, and I'll see you later. Bye.